It's a gentlemanly gesture. If you're wanting to get it on with me and you don't want a relationship, what? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Hello, good people. It is Todd Shannon, data scientist, social commentator, and sayer of true things. And today we're going to talk about this conversation that Candace Owens has with this so-called the sex worker. There's a lot to be gleaned from this conversation, but there's one thing in particular that I want to focus on. Essentially, this whole conversation is a masterclass on the behalf of this so-called sex worker. It's a master class on what it looks like to rationalize behavior that you know is wrong, right? The whole time, she's just talking about all of the wonderful things that come from the choices that she's making. And you can tell very clearly that she is rationalizing. So anyway, let's just get right into it, right? Because this is one aspect of this conversation that I want to focus on because I think it's important.
What do you say to the men that tell me, you're going to have to pay for it one way or the other? Having a wife is way more expensive. What do we say to them when they say that?
That's trendy. It's a trendy thing that people say.
That's something that people, well, it's kind of trendy when people say that it's the most pathetic, weak thing to have to pay a woman.
No, I don't think I don't think that's a common phrase anybody said. I definitely didn't take it from anybody. Well, but the one that you're saying is a common one. You're going to have to pay for it.
A lot of haters will say that.
I would remind them that having a wife and a child and a family is the greatest blessing in the entire world. If you're talking about paying because you have bills and you are paying, as we are right now, as we consider what school we're going to put our children into, and you're paying for daycare for your children, there is nothing, I would spend that money 80 million times over for the love and the joy and the warmth and the security that my family provides me.
All right, so this is not actually the part I want to talk about, but I needed to show you that part for the context. Now, it is really interesting, though, that she's equating basically what a man does when he pays for his wife's lifestyle or for his children, equating that to the transactional fee he exchanges when he pays a whore in a whorehouse. Now, this is what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying when I say this is a masterclass and what it looks like to be delusional. But I just wanted to point out, I know that it's probably painfully obvious that this is what she's saying is nonsense, but for some people it's not so obvious. So I'll just enumerate why what she's saying is wrong. All of the most valuable things that we have in our lives are things that cannot be paid for, right? If there's something that you are paying for, that means it is almost by definition something that is of less value than the most valuable things in your life. Okay, this is the reason why you cannot, for example, buy children, right? You can't. There's no like retail store where you can go and buy a child, right? You can acquire a child either through natural conception or you can go through adoption, but there's no like black market for kids. You can't sell your body parts. You can't sell a lot of things, and a lot of things should not be sold because the mere act of selling them debases them, and it's kind of it's counterintuitive, or it's paradoxical, I should say, in that when you start to pay for things, so there's certain things that actually are devalued by the fact that you pay for them. You cannot pay for loyalty. You cannot pay for friendship. You cannot pay for love. And sex is something you should not pay for. Sex, when you pay for it, you are inherently lowering its value. And this woman, sadly, she doesn't understand that. But let's continue.
It is the most aspirational thing that you can pay for.
Do you think it's okay for other people to have different viewpoints and to have different realities and maybe something else feels good to them and is right for them that to you seems foreign?
I think it's totally fine for people to live their lives in the way that they would like to live their lives. But what I require is that people speak honestly about that. And I do not think that any person who is having sex with 10 men, different men per day, is a happy person. I just don't. I refuse to believe that.
Now, that last statement is the thing that I want to talk about, because I want to put some flesh on that because she mentioned it briefly in passing. Obviously, the woman is going to take exception to that because, like I said, she is showing you how to rationalize and be delusional about your choices. But this is a controversial statement in many ways. Many people might even push back on Candace and say, hey, I understand you don't agree with it, but you can't say that someone is doing that is not happy. Well, we can 100% say that. And let's understand why. I think we think that mental wellness and emotional health is so subjective because it doesn't show up typically in the same way that unhealthy physical lifestyles and choices show up. When a person is unhealthy physically, they tend to be obese or they have some sort of clear ailment, some sort of disease, or something that hampers them physically. And you can see it, it's visible, they wear it, right? It shows up in everything that they do physically. But when it comes to emotional unhealthiness, oftentimes that can be hidden because we cannot see the person's inner man. We cannot see their heart. But that doesn't mean that the same principles don't apply. We know that there are universal standards of health when it comes to the body. We know that if you live a sedentary lifestyle and you take in more calories than you burn and you eat things that are high in calories and low in nutritional value, then that's going to make you unhealthy. And if someone says to you, I can have the fitness of an Olympic athlete and I can be just as healthy as everyone else by eating sugar all day and never eating a green leaf and never eating any kind of healthy proteins, but I can have the same sort of health standard as someone who does do that, that person is delusional. And the same thing applies to these things. We were not made to ingest bark and wood and plastic and high sugar and whatever. All of the things that have low nutritional or no nutritional value. We're also not made to abuse ourselves sexually. We're not made for alcohol consumption. We're not or abuse. We're not made for drug and alcohol abuse. We're not made for those things. And so if someone tells you, I can do these things and still be healthy, they are lying. We can say it definitively, right? Because there is some level of subjectivity, just like even in the physical. Like some of you know, some people who can eat a lot of calories and they don't gain weight right away. That's true for some people. Some people look at a donut and they gain 5 pounds. We understand this, right? But that's a difference in degree, not a difference in kind. What we're saying is that within a certain range, there's some leeway to what can be healthy for some people and not healthy for others. But when a person tells you, yeah, I can eat plastic and I can get all my nutrition and caloric intake that I need from eating plaster from the walls. That's a totally different thing. Now we're talking about things that are complete nonsense. Or even we already know if someone says, well, I can eat Twinkies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that I'm going to be just as healthy. It's not true. It's not possible. So I thought that I would just point that out because I thought this was an interesting conversation. I encourage you, there again, if you like, to go watch the entire conversation. Once again, it is a masterclass in how to rationalize your behavior that you know you should not be doing. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think it's reasonable to say, hey, I know for a fact you cannot be healthy when you abuse yourself in a sexual way? Or do you think there is some level of subjectivity that I'm not accounting for? I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Leave me a like, a comment. Make sure you let me know what you think. And till next time, friends, God bless you.